Welcome, friends, back to DBC Inc. Live. I am Tara Martin, your host, and we have Dawn Harris on the show today. Welcome, Dawn.
Hi, Tara. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're so happy to have you tonight. Dawn is, oh, it's hard to put you into words. There's so many words. Like, we don't have enough time on this show to describe what Dawn is and who
Oh,
she
God.
is and how amazing that she is, not just in the education world, but as a friend, as a mentor, as a just an amazing woman out there doing the work out in education, but not just for educators, for all the people that she has the opportunity to influence in her realm of influence. So I'm super excited to have you on the show, Dawn. I know you do so many things. I'll let you describe a little bit about what your day looks like. What do you do on the day to day in like five sentences? I know yeah, just narrow it way down. She is the author of Plan Like a Pirate, one of our amazing books in the Like a Pirate series. And it's hard to get books in the Like a Pirate series. So you're a pretty special girl. Dave just doesn't let anybody go in there. In fact, I think are you the only girl in the Like a Pirate series? And the Like a Pirate, not
What?
lead like a pirate, but like the Like a Pirate. I think you are. I meant to
Maybe.
check that. I think you are. I'm gonna check that while you're introducing yourself, which I
Wow.
think is kind of super cool. Being I'm a girl and you're a girl, we can just get some girl power in here.
Or girl
But Dawn
power.
does so many. Yeah, you are. You're the only girl. I just checked. Reference checked. So not only is she in the Like a Pirate series, she's super duper special. And if you're the only girl in the Like a Pirate series, you must be special for Dave to choose you for that. But other than that, Dawn, you do so many things for education and you work with students in so many beautiful ways. And I know we're going to get to some strategies or some things that educators can take and potentially use in their learning setting. But tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate you. You're so kind to me. I'm very excited to be part of the DBC Inc. family. It's just been an amazing journey, and my time in the classroom has really allowed me to become a part of this family and what I do in the classroom with kids every day, the work that I do with educators. I am a secondary level educator. English language arts is my content area, which I am extremely passionate about. Clearly, writing is my thing. I love it. And reading, of course. And I just really like to work with students to help build those same passions in them as well. I've worked at the university level as an associate professor of teacher education, which if I had to pick high school kids or college kids, I'm gonna pick high school kids every day. I mean, I love my college kiddos, but it's just a different experience. It's just different, right? And of
Yeah.
course, adult learners as well. I love working with educators just to kind of help them grow into who they are as educators and to discover new strategies that they can take into the classroom. And I think one of the most exciting things about working with educators for me is it really does bring that idea of as educators, our impact is infinite when we are someone who is given the privilege of working with educators. That really does become infinite in terms of how broad our reach is. The things that work for us can work for other educators and in turn impact those classrooms far and wide. And that's really exciting for me. So.
Yes, and you do such a great job of that. Not only does Dawn lead in all of her areas in her local area, she is constantly in our chat lead lab and sharing all of her wisdom there and impacting educators literally all over the world, as well as traveling, speaking, not only with all the great strategies she uses in ELA, but also her leadership strategies, anti-racism work. You just do so much great work that impacts students all over the world. And I'm really honored to know you, honestly. And goodness, look at all these people
I
joining us.
know.
David,
Hi,
Monica,
Kristen.
Kristen, thank you for joining us. We will be giving away a Plan Like a Pirate book. So if you've not received this book yet, or you need a Christmas present. I don't know if it'll get to you before Christmas. Don't bank on that. I will be sending them out on Monday, but please, don't hold me accountable for that. It'll be a late one, possibly. Give them yours and just take this one when it comes in. But yes, 1 week and 1 day before break. Help me. You got this, girl. Hang in there.
Oh, you poor thing.
Hang in there, Kristen. Man, Massachusetts is holding you guys to the last second. I love it. The kids are probably loving it, but hopefully you get a little bit more break after January. That's my hope for you. So someone's going to win Plan Like a Pirate. So before we join in with the strategies or the ideas that we're going to talk about, the content for tonight, let's tell them a little bit about what do you hope people, your readers, are going to gain from Plan Like a Pirate? Just in a nutshell.
Yeah, actually, there are really two things I think for me in writing Plan Like a Pirate that I really wanted to kind of get across to educators is first and foremost, our goal in the classroom, we have content we're responsible for, course standards, curriculum, all of that stuff, but is to empower students to really make the world a better place. What can we do? How can we engage students, tap into their learner profiles, their individual life stories, their experiences, the things that they enjoy, bring that into the classroom. How can we do that? And help them to be change agents, solution-oriented, conscientious critical thinkers, all of that. So that first chunk of the book is really dedicated to how do we structure and build classroom learning environments and plans for learning that are individualized and exciting, right? And then that second piece of the book is really about our professional careers. Like, how do we become, we say the best version of ourselves. I fully believe like we should be striving to do that every day. But what does that look like at play in the classroom? And literally, what are the steps? As educators, we're evaluated often, and we need to be ready, whenever that time comes to show our best, our very best. But the thing is that best should be that we're really doing every day with the students. When our administrators come into the classroom, it should look the same on that day that it looks every other day. So what does that look like for us as we work through designing learning in the first half of the book to really showing everyone what that looks like in our classrooms and telling our stories. Like, we all have stories about what's happening in our classrooms and the things that we're doing with kids, the awesome things we're doing with kids. And we need to share that because somebody out there is waiting to hear that story or that strategy, that success story that you have to tell about your students and your experience.
For sure. I love that. And that's a jam-packed book right there. It's such a great book. I feel like it's so well written too and very practical. Everything in there you can just take and apply. And I just love books like that. I like it when it's not so difficult that you feel like you have to like do all this prerequisite stuff before you can get there. No. Another thing that Don has created for us that Dave has up here on the screen in his comment is our DBCU, a DBC University course called Culture of Belonging. And I love this course. It works well for all year long. And that's what it's all about, creating culture of belonging all year long. Literally, I think that's in the title. And I love that because the strategies in there are all about culture building and allowing everyone to have a voice and to feel like a part of the culture, the puzzle, if you will, of your classroom, where no piece is missing ever. And she just gives you such practical strategies that you can take and use. There's so many resources in there. There's a workbook, if you will, to work through the course if you wanted to, especially if you want to do this like as a staff for any of our administrators watching this, or as a teacher team. It would be just such a great book, course, a way to study, but take practical strategies and use them straight into your classroom or your learning setting. It could be professional development as well. So do check out the course. We will drop the link over in the comment section. I will, once Dawn starts talking a little bit, I'll drop her book link over there, which is also above and below this video, and the course link. We are going to be giving away some courses throughout the month. So so this past TLAP sorry, this little announcement before I let you take the floor. This is good though, because you should check this out. You can potentially get a course too. But on Monday nights, 8 to 8 p.m., we have TLAP on Twitter. We are not doing it for the month of December. Instead, we're doing a little question where you could win a book. And we will also be giving out a couple of free codes for courses. So there will be 4 winners each Monday night. And so do check that out this Monday night. It was already chosen this past Monday, but this Monday you'll get a new one, and Wednesday you'll have some winners. So December is our month of giving. It's a lot of fun. We love giving away some awesome stuff for you guys to have some PD over the holidays. So do check that out. And I will drop that link over in the comment section in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to turn this over to Dawn. Take it away, girl. Just tell us Yes, David did win a book this week. It is going to be out in the mail starting tomorrow. So you might get yours before Christmas, mister. You might get lucky. But yeah, so we'll let you take it away, Dawn. Share with us anything on your heart, something you feel like we can take and use. I know a lot of people are headed to break, but it looks like Kristen's still in for a day and a week. So some of us can take it and use it this week, but if not, we can use it when we come back from break. So take it away, girl.
Great. Thanks so much. And, that course, Tara, we worked through a lot, really getting that course up and ready for everyone to just enjoy. And there's just so much that you can take, like you said, and put to use right away. But it's all about the sense of community that we're trying to build in our classrooms and from day one, but not even in the course. I do give you like the first couple of weeks of school, like what are some things that we can do, but it's about continuing that growth and that building that community that is our classroom, and helping students just get to know one another in ways that enable them to feel safe and comfortable in connecting and communicating with one another. And while this applies to a lot of classrooms, in the English classroom, we do sometimes tend to talk about some content that can be challenging at times, that can bring people to maybe sometimes uncomfortable perhaps conversations or understandings, that kind of thing. And for me, it's always about making sure that my students feel safe in expressing their values and their beliefs and their opinions, their ideas, their thoughts, because we grow even stronger when we're doing that. And so making sure that my students feel like my classroom is a really safe place is important, especially we're in the heat of exams right now, right? And I think about addressing the needs of learners, and during exam time, it can get a little stressful for kids, right? There's a lot going on. We also test high school kids. We've got benchmarks that we give them. Some are taking the ACT and the SAT, the ASVAB, like it's test, 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 test. And so I like to, when I'm preparing exams for students, to get a little more non-traditional with exams. And so one of the things that we do during exam time in my English classroom setting are Socratic seminars, and allowing students to have discussions that I like to say are both formative and summative. So for the past couple weeks, about 3 weeks now, my junior students have been doing some research on Native American culture. We have been reading. We read Sherman Alexie's Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. We have watched movies, documentaries. We have read articles, learning about more contemporary Native American culture in this country. And it has been eye-opening for students, just completely, bringing them to new understanding about, things they really didn't even know about before. And sitting down to have the conversation in Socratic style allows them to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding, but it also allows them to learn how to have very thought-filled, kind of critical discourse with one another surrounding topics that may be challenging for some. Not having understanding of, in this case, Native American culture prior to, in some cases, coming to the conversation with stereotypes, perhaps that they have acquired over time, and being able to have those conversations together has been fulfilling for them. It's been fulfilling for me, for sure. It always is. But it's not something that could happen without a strong sense of community. You cannot bring students to those kinds of conversations without having a culture already in the classroom that's filled with belonging, helping them to get to know one another and to feel comfortable through those discussions. It's just been really transformational. It is always for all my classes, but this year's classes as well. And the students left today at the end of our discussion in today's sessions just so excited and set on finding solutions, to the problems that are kind of plaguing our society today, surrounding Native American culture. And for me, that's pretty exciting. One of the things, again, in Playing Like a Pirate, it's like we're out here to help these kids, light this world up, right? Just set it on fire with change. And these are the kinds of conversations that we need to be having with kids to enable them to do that. And again, that just comes from building a strong sense of community and fostering awareness, inspiring curiosity, and possibility questions, which we use all the time. Tara Martin.
Love that. That makes my heart happy for
All the
sure.
time.
I love it. Socratic seminars are just so great because, like you said, there's just so many opportunities for everyone's voice to be heard, and to have the opportunity to have your voice heard, if you want it. And I've always appreciated those. When I was in the classroom, I feel like that wasn't really a thing. But later, once I became a coach, an instructional coach, I saw it all the time. And I loved going into those classrooms, when you had this, and some of the conversations got really intense, but because they have built what you're talking about, that culture of belonging, everyone felt safe to share in that moment and left learning something new. And that's what we have to have these settings in our school, and a guided setting, if you will, so that when we face these real issues, these real conversations in life later, we understand, we've had some kind of background of how to navigate them and help everyone's perspective to be valued.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And just teaching students how to use the language of questioning, in conversation, and that it's okay to ask why, and learning how to put our emotions aside, that we can still be passionate about a topic, but we can put our emotions aside so that we can have a constructive and productive conversation. And one of the students from yesterday's conversation, she said, and I loved this, she said, "Is it okay if I ask the group a controversial question?" She said to the students, her peers, "Is it okay if I ask the group a controversial question? I really want to know this." And it was perfect. Like everyone was like ready for it. Like, sure, go ahead. What is it? And then it just opened the discussion. Everyone felt she was comfortable enough to ask. Everyone was comfortable enough to respond. And, just being able to get off your chest what you have to say with the right words, I think, is really important. And that's where the prep time for Socratic Seminar really is important. We do use the questioning mat to develop possibility questions. And we don't ask yes, no questions, right? In what ways? How could we? How might? All of those question stems that lead to very thoughtful answers. I've been using the questioning mat with my students for like the last 3 years, and it has transformed discussion in my classrooms. It's amazing.
Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. I was trying to pull up the site real quick to drop the possibility questions down
yes,
here. And I was
please
like,
do. It's fabulous.
I might be muted right now.
No.
I need to check. I love that so much. And it makes my heart so happy because if you've not seen the questioning mat, I'm dropping it in here right now. By the way, if this little site tells you, like, just say I'm not a robot and it should pull right up. I don't know why my thing keeps doing that. It does it to me too. I'm like, I'm still not a robot. I know I seem superhuman, but no, I'm just kidding. This is the kind of conversations I have with my computer because I spend all day with it. So anyways, back on topic. Possibility questions came from learning how to be a better instructional coach. I originally took a couple of different courses, one with Bruce Wellman, Laura Lipton in Connecticut. It was my first time to ever go to Connecticut. And they just spent so much time teaching us how to ask questions. I feel like it was half of a day on question asking. And I'm like, how are we going to spend half a day on this? Like, seriously, couldn't you just tell us how to do it and then we just do it? But so often we will ask questions that involve just what he likes to call ability words. And I'm going to show you what she's talking about, because I really think this could work for anybody at any time.
Yes, absolutely.
Shoot, this could even work if you're already on vacation for holiday break. This is pretty extra, but conversations with families can get a little weird sometimes. And if you just want to ask a really open-ended question and get people talking about stuff, pop out a possibility question. It's not going to be a yes, no. It's going to get the weird conversations going, and you might actually like it. But one of the things that Dawn is talking about here, where it doesn't allow them a yes, no answer. And the mat she's talking about, is this the one you use?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So this is the mat she uses. You could use this one. There's a student one too. But just using those stems on the left-hand side, if you will, the ability words, the, can, is, do, changing them to possibility words. For example, when a kid does something, like think about a kid at recess and they like go and punch a kid. And when they come in, what do you typically say? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? What is the problem? That's like what we would ask, right? What is your problem? But what if we asked, what seems to be the problem? Because when we say what is the problem, we're basically implying that they have a problem, right? We just saw them punch the other kid. But if we say what seems to be the problem, they have an opportunity to share why they felt the need to do such a thing. And then the other person also gets to share their perspective of why that happened. And we just you open up possibilities for everyone to say something. And when I understood after the 4-hour session why we spent so much time on questioning, because we as humans revert to yes, no questions really regularly. And another thing we do is we ask the question and we already know. We don't even really care what they're going to say. We already are thinking about our next response. When you ask possibility questions, you can't really think of the next response because you don't know how they're going to answer. It's because it opens up so many possibilities, it causes you to have to active listen. And so it goes hand in hand with the Socratic seminar, which is why I'm assuming Dawn loves using them.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
You're right. Yeah. You throw it out there and you don't know, you can't anticipate the answer they're going to give. You just have no idea. They're pulling off past experiences. They're pulling off something that just happened in the hallway. I mean, there is just really no telling where they're going to dig deep and share, because they have this open, what seems to be the problem, or in what ways can you relate to this topic? You don't know. There's a lot of ways out there, how this person could relate. And that makes you have to listen. And when we are forced to listen, same like I'm thinking about like in a conversation with at Christmas dinner or something, you're forced to listen. And at that point, maybe a productive conversation could occur. There's possibilities.
Definitely.
Anyway.
You can, and when you ask students as the teacher, like it really transforms your teaching, because the moment that you shift to possibility questions in the classroom, you can immediately see students start thinking. Like it's instantaneous. It's almost like their brains can't resist the urge to think about it. To think about like, wait, what did she just say? Hold on a second. And in the Socratic seminar process, it works really well because we start out, we do fishbowl style seminars. So we have a small group in the middle, larger, another circle on the outside.
Yeah.
They're taking notes on the outside. The inner group starts by asking every student on the inner circle asks their possibility question. So we're all listening for that question that triggers us and like, oh, I want to answer that question. And so now you start out with 10 questions and somebody's jotted down, or every student has jotted down one of those questions they want to respond to. And they're just like literally chomping at the bit to get in their replies to those. And and I use possibility questions outside of Socratic seminar too. A lot of times I'll have students generate a question and then we'll go put them on the board. Everybody just writes their question on the board and we get to go up and look, what did others ask? And I can't tell you how often I hear, "Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, I never thought of that." Like just instantly brains start processing and thinking about the content in a different way. And that's what I like about the possibility questions in particular is they give us an open-ended prompt to that connects the academic with the domain. So we have the academic or the cognition kinds of words, those academic language words connected to what is the topic or content. And it's like an endless puzzle of questions that you can put together. I may even get similar questions in Socratic seminar, but they are worded so differently that we could answer them in a different way just based on how they are put together.
It's so true. And like what she's talking about, I'm just like, I love that you're talking about a topic that I'm passionate about too. It's probably dangerous for our listeners. We got to wrap this up in a few minutes. But like you could put the stem at the front. So we're talking about these ability versus possibility words. You see them, the, can, is, do. Those are the no words. Like, well, when you're doing this with third graders, those are the no words. Like you're doing it in high school.
No words in high school too.
Okay, perfect. And then so if somebody says, what is, you say, how about what mights, how mights, what seems, what are some, like they start to figure it out though. It's not long. And that little box is like ingrained in their brain, even as little bitties, but you can do it in so many ways. Like you could put the stem first. How might you predict whatever, or knowing, like if you're doing this as a teacher, knowing the main character in our story, what ways might your life compare to them? So you could change up the question. And I think that's what Dawn is talking about here. Once they get a little more advanced, they start writing their questions in so many different ways, even to a place where just adding the word describe, it's not actually a question, but describe some, attributes of these two shapes. Describe some whatever. You can even form it as a statement, but it also gives them something that's very open-ended. Like there's no way, no one has to come up with all because it's not all inclusive. And when you use the word some, you allow people to answer something that they do know. And that's the thing. If you can ask the question in such a way that everyone feels like they can participate, they do. And what I really love is when the little bitties catch on, when their teacher is just using these questions all the time, and then they start catching on and they're like, so what seems to be the problem? And you're like, you're 5. That's awesome.
I love it. It's working. It's working.
It is working. It's working. But I think it's just so important for us. I love it that David just admitted vulnerable. He's so vulnerable over here. But he said, hey, I just did this yesterday. And I thought he meant he used possibility questions, but he was talking about how he had a question. He asked it. He already had the other one loaded. He was ready. When we do that, though, and we anticipate their answer, most of the time, if it's yes, no, or if we kind of know a stance that they have on things, we know what they're going to say. And then you're already loaded for the next thing. And if they added anything, we're pretty much not even listening to them at that point. And that's what I love about Socratic seminars. Hey, don't worry, David, we're right there with you. And don't think just because I know this and preach it that I do it every single time, because I don't. Especially not with my husband. He's probably like, what is she even talking about? You should do this with your spouse as well. It's a lot of fun. Right. But
with caution, right?
Yeah, with caution. It could be there for a while. But I love that because it does force us to have more active listening. And that's where understanding and being able to build those levels of empathy really happens when we start to understand, or at least try to get an idea of where they're coming from and why they're answering in such a way.
And, Tara, I want to say too, like for, any administrators or teacher leaders who are listening to this conversation about possibility questions, I've had the pleasure of like many of the students, I used to teach at the junior high level. I transitioned to high school a few years ago. Some of my older students I had in junior high. Some of my students have been looped because we work in a smaller district and I'm able to interact with them, in subsequent years. So I've had some of my students 3 or 4 years now. And using possibility questions over that time has really transformed for those students who have been a part of that kind of learning environment for a while, the way in which they approach learning. And what I mean by that is, in particular, as it relates to wait time, like they understand the concept of wait time, because when we ask questions, we can't just expect somebody's going to have an answer right away, number one. And they learned how to deal with wait time, because when the wait time becomes long, guess what somebody does? They just ask another question. And it's fascinating to see that kind of change take place from, students who've been, from 2 or 3 years ago to now, learning how to use their questions to advance not just their own learning, but the learning of their peers. And if we do this, think about what happens if we're doing this in every classroom in a building, like the potential that has to change the way that kids think, like, metacognition, and just being able to immediately tap into like higher order thinking skills and just deepen their levels of understanding. And like you said, empathy in particular, because what we're really asking for by the use of possibility questions is what somebody else truly thinks about something.
It's so true. Everything, all of that. I love it. And I wish so bad, like we are doing that, there are wonderful teachers out there like you doing this in the classroom. I wish so much we would take the opportunity to do this with our staff and our peers, because I know professional development, when you have such a limited amount of time, the amount of learning that could actually happen if every staff member brought their possibility question and just planned for Socratic Seminar staff meeting. I've never done one, but I feel like that would be so powerful.
I think so too.
Thinking from a professional's, there's no telling the learning that we would walk away from. And it's just like with the staff, we have to, just like with the teacher, we have to relinquish that control and let the learners guide the learning and see what happens, because it could be super powerful what they walk away from in a setting like that. And, to be super honest, I've been an administrator. Most staff meetings could be done in an email. So plan a Socratic seminar, send an email with all the stuff that you just had to get done.
Yeah,
I'm being super honest.
Well, and you're right. Think about how awesome it feels when you walk away from a really great discussion. Right. And the more minds that you get to tap into, the better. So they have been really life-changing for me. And we talk about, as I do in Plan Like a Pirate, making the world a better place. What better way to do that than through asking kids to question everything? Really.
So true.
Yeah.
And they need to question everything. They need to not take things at face value. And I'm just thinking from a professional development standpoint. I mean, that could just be a bonding moment for your staff too. I could just see so much cool stuff coming out of from a meeting like that, because not only are you creating that culture of belonging with them, you're modeling what they could be doing with their students. And once they see it done and feel it done, they're like, oh, this could be really good.
Feel it done. I love that. Feel it done. Yes.
They would feel it. Yeah. You can't help but feel Socratic Seminar.
No, you cannot.
Right?
It was funny. Before we got on tonight, I'm telling my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, honey, it was day 2. And this is what this student said. And this is what this student wouldn't believe. And they were, because I said, listen, we get to tap into all of this research we've done, but you have background knowledge. What do you know already? What did you learn in history class? What other experiences? They were bringing all of this material in that we hadn't even discussed in class. And like, oh my gosh, that's the idea, right?
Right. And then they start really guiding the learning. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm
Right.
so excited that you brought up this topic. And I feel like it just leads right into, if you're going into break, just throw some possibility questions and let us know how that goes.
Yes, that's
I would
awesome.
love to hear about it,
Right.
honestly.
They need to tweet those out and tag us in them, Tara.
Please do all the best moments. Maybe with some video footage. Don't get anybody in trouble though. That's awesome. So thank you, Dawn. It's been so lovely to have a conversation with you. I love it when we get together, and I feel like we could probably talk for a straight hour, but I know people got to go to bed at some point. And we were just talking about getting in our jammies.
Yeah.
So totally understand. We do have a couple of announcements before Dawn shares her ways to connect with her. Someone is going to win Plan Like a Pirate tonight. David here is a witness that he won a book last week. I think it was in the T-Lab contest he won. But hey, he's here tonight too. So you might be a lucky drawer at multiple places, buddy. Getting those free books out. And Dawn will love to have you connect with her on social media as you are reading or trying Socratic Seminar or throwing out some possibility questions with your families over the holidays. Connect with us, tag us. We'd love to hear it. So Dawn, I will let you go ahead and share your information. I'll do my announcements right after that.
Great. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'm always on Twitter at dharriseds. My handle is right there. It's the same on Instagram or Dawn M. Harris on Facebook, but I also have the Education Undone Educator Network on Facebook as well. You can search that. And if you need to get a hold of me by email, Dawn at Education Undone.
Yes, I love it. Hey, you can do that all you want, David. This is all about giving. We're going to be giving away books for a couple weeks. So you are good. You can gift them and take all the credit. We love it. Just share the messages with everyone. Yes, please do connect with Dawn. You just heard all of her socials. We'll also drop them in the comments too. And the link for her.
There you go.
Sorry about your bed. The link to her book is above or below this video as well. We are offering right now a Kindle book sale. There are 3 books on sale for $2.99. So you definitely want to, if you haven't already, well, we have a couple of sales. We have the Kindle book sale for the Ditch books. There are 3 of them. It is Ditch That Textbook by Matt Miller, Don't Ditch That Text, in Our Class, Our Voice. If you've not seen those on social media, that's not it. You can check it out. There's also Edu Protocols. We'll be having another sale starting tomorrow on Kindle. So you do want to check that out. We're talking, this is pretty cheap, $2.99. I mean, I don't know. Kindles don't ever go on sale that cheap. And so if you want to grab a few to put on your Kindle for the holidays, these will only last until Sunday. So do check that out. Other than that, like I said, we have just a lot of giveaways that are happening this month. We have a lot of sales happening every single week. So we're trying to make it easy for teachers to get PD in the hands of their staff, their colleagues, so we can just help students all over the world. That's always the goal. So Dawn, she has shared so beautifully, so many great things. We dropped the questioning mat over in the comment section. You can find her website, educationundone.com. I'm going to drop that over there real quick.
Thank you.
So many cool resources on this website. I absolutely love this resource. I come to it often, and she did such a beautiful job of creating it and making it very user-friendly for everyone. So I'll drop that over in the comment section. All the things that we've talked about already are mostly over there. And if not, you can find all of the ways to connect with Dawn on her website there too. So thanks again for joining us. It's so fun to have you on the show, Dawn.
Thank you for having me. It's always a joy to be with you, Tara. Always.
Yes. I think when Dawn and I have at least gotten to see each other once at one conference. Yeah. And we didn't get enough time. I think we just needed more time.
No, we
were too busy
everywhere,
moving everywhere. But yeah, I think the two of us could probably stay up all night chatting about all the things we're passionate about. They're very similar. So thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next week. Is that
Chris, I think we will see you next week. I'll let you know. And Sunday 7, you can always check Sunday 7 to know if we're coming or not. We'll see you next week. Same place, same time. And yeah, take care, everyone. If you're not on break yet, Kristen, hang in there just a little bit longer. And we're wishing all of you just the best night. Good night, everyone. Have a great holiday if I don't talk to you before that. And thanks again for joining our show today.